Let's imagine for a moment that we want to create a more complicated layout. A layout that perhaps didn't have the columns sitting side by side, but perhaps had a gap between them. For example, we might want to have column 1 on our screen, then a gap, and our second column a little further along the screen. In this case, we would need a column spanning 4 of Bootstrap's columns. Then we'd need to have a gap and another column that spans 4 of Bootstrap's columns. So we need to learn in this instance how to offset the second column. And that's what we're going to take a look at now in this tutorial. Once again, I'm in my template and I've added the container and the row. Now let's go ahead and work out exactly how we're going to add 2 columns and offset one of them. So I've added my first column and I'm saying that this is going to span 4 of Bootstrap's columns. Let's add inside here a well just so that we can see the column. I'm going to highlight this column, copy it and paste it. And this time, in order to offset this column, I need to add column at the medium size, offset by 4. And so now we've got our first column which spans 4 of Bootstrap's grid columns, again another one that spans 4 of Bootstrap's grid columns, and then this is offset by 4 columns, so that still adds up to 12, so it should fill our columns. Let's just rename this column 2 to see it in action. Save this and view it in our browser. And there we can see column 1 ending here, the gap, and then column 2 beginning. When we go down, at the large size it remains like that, medium size it remains like that, and then lower it then starts to span the full width of the columns. And again, when it gets down to the extra small, it continues to do that. So by doing this method, we can soon create a layout that enables us to have a gap in the center and columns over here. Now, obviously they don't need to add up to 12 when you're doing this because you may want to have a gap over here. So if we go back to the code editor, I could say the offset is only going to be 2. Save that and go back and let's take a look. And this time we can see that there is a bigger gap over here than there is here. So we know that there is an extra 2 columns. And then once it gets down to the small size breakpoint, it then fills the entire browser. Again, if we go back, instead of it being medium, we could say in here, small. In that case, these would also break as well. So we would want to change these to small at the same point. Save that. And now we go down. And only then at the extra small size does it then fill the full width of the browser. So combining this with what we've learned previously, we have even more complicated ways to control our layout and our structure across the different size screens on a responsive layout.